And there's one draft pick that we haven't talked about quite yet today, and it's one that I think most people are happy about, but there's certainly a dividing line for people who are happy with him being picked and people who think he may never play and may be a wasted pick. And that, of course, is the Hendon Hooker selection in the third round by the Detroit Lions. Former NFL player and now analyst Chris Sims, though, he absolutely loves the Hendon Hooker pick. Hear what he has to say.
And when you saw Detroit, coming up the scroll, you said, oh, well, it seems like it makes too much sense. I mean, he'd be that type of guy. He fits the offense they want to run. Really, potentially, he has, more potential than Jared Goff in a lot of ways. So, wow, to get that guy in the third round, where I think a lot of teams, as you know, valued him and looked at him really as a first-round pick, but between age and his knee and the fact that he can't contribute to your team this year right now, I think that hurt him a little bit. And then some people didn't like that offense, which was, another BS complaint about him. But, man, big-time move by the Detroit Lions.
Well, we can tell there that Mike Florio wasn't impressed, but that's all right. And that's the type of commentary that I think should get everyone excited about Hendon Hooker. I remember I was here doing that Friday night draft show. I think I was on with Spencer, and JB was there too. And when the Hendon Hooker pick was announced, we were all very, very excited. And it's for a wide variety of reasons. One, Hendon Hooker was just damn good in college at Tennessee. I keep saying this stat, but I'm going to say it until the cows come home because it's that mind-boggling. In his last 2 years at Tennessee, he threw 58 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions. He was on his way to win the Heisman Trophy. And, of course, we can't talk about the Hendon Hooker pick without discussing whether or not we think the Lions should pay Jared Goff because they're intertwined. Braylon, how is this Hendon Hooker pick sitting with you about a week after it was made?
I loved it when it first made it.
Hell yeah.
There are a lot of people that don't like the pick because they see, well, if he's not going to play, then we could have got something out of at that third round pick because you're looking at all the other picks that are going to play that are projected to start. So you look at it, oh, man, we could have got somebody else that could have contributed this year. Somebody could have started. Look, shut up. And this is why I tell you shut up with that.
Hell yeah.
Last year, he would have won the Heisman Trophy if he does not get injured. The quarterbacks that win the Heisman Trophy usually go first overall, or they get drafted in the first round. Whether it's Baker, whether it's Kyler, whether it's Lamar Jackson, whether it's every quarterback. Bryce Young, 2 years ago, he won the Heisman. These are the guys that are winning the Heisman. They're all going first round. They're all going number one overall. So you get a chance to get a guy, and then you say, well, he's old. One of the biggest problems with the kids in the league today is the immaturity. We're talking about freaking Jameson Williams being immature. Well, at 25, you damn sure know Hendon Hooker's not going to be immature. Everywhere he's been, Virginia, Tennessee year 1, Tennessee year 2, he's gotten better and better and better. 58-5, that stat is freaking insane.
It's insane.
Insane. If he's not the quarterback that if Jared Goff works, then so what? Yeah. If Jared Goff works, then that means the Lions work, which means you're winning, which means you're not missing on that third pick. If Jared Goff doesn't work, then that means you got a guy in the stable that maybe he's the answer, maybe he's something different, and you're still building your team. And the third thing, excuse me, maybe he just becomes your backup. Have you ever thought about that? We talk about the Detroit Lions needing a backup quarterback. Who's going to come save the day? Is it Teddy Bridgewater at $6 million? Who's it going to be next year? What if Jared Goff works, and what if Hendon Hooker works as a backup quarterback for us that knows the system, learns the system, and then when Jared Goff, you make a move, you still have Hendon Hooker. I think this is a great move. I think he's a great player, and I don't mind, let's say, missing on the third-round pick that can contribute this year because I think he'll be here. Even if it doesn't work in year 1, 2, and you extend Jared Goff, shoot, Hendon Hooker could be your backup quarterback for years to come.
Hey, the way this team has been built over the last couple of years, they filled up most of the holes.
Yeah.
So going for another rookie, adding to that already almost $70 million that they're going to shell out for rookie contracts, yeah, it would have been nice to have somebody. But you have a possible quarterback saver here. If Jared Goff does not perform in the next couple of years and this kid can come in out of the wings after he learns here for 2 years, what do you got to lose? He's a first-round talent, and I can't trump what Braylon has said.
Yeah.
I like him even better now after what you just told me. I didn't know that record, 59-5.
58-5.
That's you want a winner, right?
Yeah.
If you win in college, you have an opportunity to win in the pros. I love the kid, and he's got a lot to prove. That's what I like even more.
Yeah, touchdown. Those are touchdowns and interceptions, man. That's our apology. Touchdowns and interceptions, but that's winning. 58 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, man. That's called winning. That's winning football.
Absolutely, 58-5. That's basically 12-1, 11.5-1, and then if you include
the SEC,
including 5 touchdowns, 1 pick against an Alabama team that had Will Anderson and Brian Branch on defense, and Jordan Battle and Eli Ricks. If you want to really go deeper into that, Jahmyr Gibbs on the offense, of course. And the thing is, here's the thing about Hendon Hooker that I think is very, very relevant. And I know, Maz, you will probably. I think I know your answer to this. Is there anything possible that Jared Goff can do that is going to make you want to pay him $50 million a year?
Yeah. Win a playoff game.
Win a playoff game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Win a playoff game.
$50 million a year, he's got to win. Like, for $50 million a year for Jared Goff, for me to just completely blindly leap into Jared Goff for good, he's got to win the NFC Championship.
And that's
$50 million,
right.
You got to win the NFC Championship and get to the Super Bowl. You don't have to win the Super Bowl, but to pay $50 million, which is now the going rate, to Maz's point, you got to at least get to the NFC Championship.
Yeah, and I would probably agree with you more, Braylon, because Jared Goff, I think he has a lot set up for him to have another good year this year. And I think he definitely has to have at least one more back to make it back-to-back in order to even consider paying him 45 or 50. But the reality is, Jared Goff could play very well, and they might make the playoffs and lose. There's many scenarios in which you could see Jared Goff asking for too much money and the Detroit Lions don't want to pay him. I mean, it's fair. When you look at the totality of Jared Goff's career, he's had 3 Pro Bowl seasons, 3 mid-years, and a horrible rookie year, albeit with Jeff Fisher as his coach. We excuse that completely. And I
you don't like Jeff Fisher?
Not as a quarterback whisper at that point. Jeff Fisher, he had a run in Tennessee. They made a Super Bowl. Steve McNair, he was good then, but Jeff Fisher was clearly...
Rest in peace.
Absolutely.
Rest in peace. But you know what? Also look at it, too. Look at it like this. Remember with the Patriots, when they had Tom Brady. Now, obviously, I'm not trying to make a comparison for Jared Goff to be Tom Brady. But when they had Tom Brady, they drafted Matt Castle. They drafted Jacoby Brissett. They drafted Porno Jimmy.
Yep.
And then what happens?
Love Porno Jimmy.
Tom Brady tears his ACL. What happens? Matt Castle, he comes in and goes 11-3. Wow. And then he ends up getting paid for the Kansas City Chiefs. Look what happens with Porno Jimmy. He comes in and goes, 2-1? And then Jacoby Brissett comes in and goes 2-0. And while Tom Brady is out with the game suspension for Deflategate. So you got to have...
Where are those kids, by the way? No, go ahead.
Well, Jacoby Brissett got paid when he went to the Colts.
I meant the Deflategate guys. They disappeared.
Oh, they're on the island somewhere.
Yeah, they disappeared.
But you see that they had guys in the stable, and they had guys that could do that, and those guys end up being starting quarterbacks. In fact, one of those guys ended up getting to the Super Bowl, and another guy had 2 Pro Bowls. Matt Castle had 2 Pro Bowls with the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think you look at it from that perspective, it's good to have a quarterback that could have been a top – you're talking about potential lottery pick. You got him in the 3rd round.
Well, like I said yesterday, Colin Cowherd, I listened to him, and he said – these words about Jared Goff. He thinks he's a top 10, top 12 quarterback right now.
Yeah.
He says his best successes with the Rams is when he had Todd Gurley and a good offensive line. Same thing here with the Lions. They got a running game. They got the best offensive line in the NFC North. He wins 75% of his games when he has all those things going for him. So why the hell not? Why can't he win 75-80% of his games going forward? I'm in his corner, and I'm rooting for him. And why the hell not?
Fletch, you look like you have something to say. I couldn't tell if you were
He was
scratching your head
excited.
or raising your hand.
Like,
go off on your boy, Fletch. Go off.
I'm gonna sound. I watch the morning show basically as much as I'm in here, but. They keep on talking about, and I agree with this sentiment, and I think it goes against what Maz was saying, is are you winning because of Goff, or are you winning with Goff?
With.
Like, okay, so he's not worth $50 million then. I'm sorry, but if he's not the reason why you're winning, and he's just a part of the reason why you're winning, you've got a bunch of people to pay in the next 3 years. Why am I going to pay the guy that I'm winning with when I've got a bunch of guys that I'm winning because of that I also have to pay?
And
I'd rather have that offensive line and some of those defensive players that are going to be gone and pay Hooker a low salary than sit here with Goff on $50 million and then lose with him because he doesn't have all of the things that Maz says he needs to win.
Well, and that's a fair point. And for the record, Jared Goff, they may be able to come up with a deal that's less than $50 million a year. All I know is that Daniel Jones got 40. And if Jared Goff has another great year like he did last year, another
53.
Another Pro Bowl level
Yeah.
season. I think Jared Goff, given where the quarterback market is now, might be justified in asking for 45 or even 50 or even
it's not
more.
going backwards.
Or even more than that. But the question is whether the Lions want to pay that. And I don't know if there's any scenario. We obviously hope that Jared Goff has a great year, has maybe a couple great seasons, and maybe the Lions do make it to the promised land. But anything short of that, and you definitely have to have some discussions about whether to get rid of Jared Goff, have Hendon Hooker a couple more years in his rookie deal, and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, what have we learned about Brad Holmes in these first, 2+ years that he's been there? Doesn't like to pay a lot. He's going to be very meticulous, very methodical in the players that he brings in, the players he chooses to pay. I mean, hell, we signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson, right? Like the second biggest free agent in the draft. How much did he getting this year? $8 million.
Yeah.
Like he's only getting $8 million. I mean, look at Cam Sutton. Cam Sutton had what? I think he was, in terms of efficiency, he was number 3 DB last year. NFL, 3 years, $11 million per year, $33 million. He's not paying guys a ton of money. So if we follow that metric, he didn't just draft Bijan Robinson at 6 because Bijan Robinson was the best player. He said, "To hell with that, I'll move back." So if you look at it from that metric, I don't think they're going to pay Jared Goff regardless of what he does. If we're being honest, I think Hendon Hooker was bought here to be the replacement. You're going to give Jared Goff this year, and you're going to lock and load with Hendon Hooker next year. I don't think Jared Goff will give it because they can't pay. They don't want to pay anybody. Why are they going to pay a guy that they're always trying to figure out? Is he like? We got to keep surrounding him with talent. What other wide receivers can we go get to make this guy happy? What other running backs? What other offensive linemen? The fact that that's the mindset, Jared Goff won't be the quarterback for the Detroit Lions moving forward. It's going to be Hendon Hooker or somebody else.
Unless he wins the Super Bowl, then.
Then he'll just be, then he'll get paid somewhere else.
Ooh.
Then he gets paid somewhere else. Because if you won the Super Bowl, you got the Super Bowl already.
Shoot,
True.
I don't know if I can imagine a scenario where Jared Goff is a Super Bowl winning quarterback for the Lions and he doesn't come back. But I get what you're saying. Hey, Trent Dilfer got carried by maybe the greatest defense ever.
He didn't get brought back, though.
And I was happy about that.
I was too, but he didn't get brought back.
Because he sucks.
He does, but he didn't get brought back.
I know.
He was beat up by the time he got to the Ravens, and he got him to a Super Bowl.
With the
He
best
saved their
defense ever.
ass.
And then I played with him like 5 years later. So this thing.
You remember who their quarterback was before him?
Tony
Yes, I do.
Banks.
He went to school up the street.
Yeah. Okay, he saved their ass. So say what you want about him. He got him to the Super Bowl.
He was better than Tony Banks, a quarterback who led the Ravens to 5 straight games without a touchdown?
Yes.
8.
Congratulations, Trent Dilfer.
8.
And that's even worse.
Yeah. 8.